Let's talk about the kind of job that you're doing, because you're working in a company that is very specialized on finite element simulation and engineering services. So your job title is related to finite element simulation engineer, and this was exactly what you were working in the beginning. And now you are moved to exactly the same kind of position that you were really working during the study. How is the job at the moment? Can you describe it, what you're doing exactly?
Yes. So my main task for my job is to do some finite element simulation with software Abacus, and my second main task is to running the multi-body simulation with Adams. And my third job is to organize or to communicate between China and Europe to make less misunderstanding when we have a project with China. At the beginning, I have no experience with the finite element simulation of Abacus. In the university, what I learned is ANSYS Workbench. I had the opportunities that I did my master thesis in AVL, so that I learned Abacus there. That was one of my advantage at that moment to finish my master thesis in company and to learn some software there so that in the future I can find my job easily.
How difficult was it to move from one software to the other software?
Actually, it's not so difficult to move from one software to the other software. For example, there are so many software with CAD 3D drawing, which is called Inventor, CATIA, Siemens NX, and so on. There are or SolidWorks. So all of them are CAD 3D drawing software, but the technology behind them are the same. So it's not very difficult from one software to move to the second software. You just to know how to click the buttons and to find the correct buttons in the right position. That will be easy for you to know this software. Actually, behind this software or behind the finite element software, the theories are the same. The only difference is the surface. It's different. So for me, it's not very difficult to move one software to the other software. That's it.
Let's talk about the industrial jobs at the moment. You've been working in several companies and you've been involved in the different jobs and opportunities available in the companies. Can you say how is the situation in different companies, let's say in AVL or Tectos, if they want to employ another technical person, a fresh graduate right now that you are inside of the company, probably you have some insider information.
So actually now I'm working with Tectos. So there are also some new employer come to us every year. In my opinion, most of the new employer, they also get the news from who worked with Tectos before. So the relationship between the human beings, it's very easy to find a job in the future, in my opinion.
It's actually quite an interesting thing because many people think that all of the jobs are advertised online. While in reality, we see that the relations that the companies or individuals they have includes more information than what it really goes online. In many cases, the company is coming to us and I say that, hey, we want to have special engineer in that area. Can you make sure that we will get enough applicants? So this kind of sourcing services that we do is something quite interesting for some companies. Comparing your situation with the other students coming from China, or let's say other graduates from China, your situation was quite good. But do you know stories of the other people, whether they found the job, whether all of the Chinese who came to Europe, they found a job or not?
I think for the other peoples, they made the mistake is that they just want to study it or to do the research only in the school. So that is not enough because if you want to find a job in Austria, the companies will not see so many experience that you worked in school. They prefer to see you have some working experience out of the school. For example, working as a part-time job in some company to learn something or to do some research in this kind of company or organization. They like to know you are not a student, you are a worker, you are a research, so that they can accept to working with them. That's one of my opinion. So this kind of guys, it's hard for them to find a job because they have less working experience They have only the study experiment. That's it.
Yeah. This is exactly a kind of problem that we see, that many people, especially coming from China, they only have the experience of studying at the university, and right after the university they expect to find a job in industry, and it doesn't work like this. You always need to have some work-related experience. The point is that for having a work-related experience, you need to find a job. So the point is that if you don't have it, they don't accept you. So this is a kind of a closed loop. So somehow you need to break the loop and start in working in some organization. I mean, just like what we offered was a kind of project. So probably other people need to find that kind of organization who offer project for the early graduates. That is actually something that the people usually need. Talking about the interviews and recommendation letters and so on that you had, you were quite successful in getting to interviews, and you had many job opportunities, many positive answers. What was the difference between your application and the other Chinese students or the other Chinese graduate in this program? I mean, just like you. I mean, there are so many people coming from China, but they are not able to find a good job after their graduation. So what was different in your case in compared to the other Chinese graduates?
Yeah, the first point is that you need to do more some project before you find a job, or you need to more activities to know more technology so that it will be easy to find job in the future. And you need more patience to learn to study some special software skills. So it also could be the advantage of yourself to find a job easily. I find a job what I'm working now. The employer saw my CV that I did so many projects. For example, I did the CFD simulation with you as my bachelor thesis. And also I did some 3D printing technology project with you. That's also the advantage to find a job at that moment. So if I have more opportunities to do more kind of project, to learn more computer skills, to do more activities with a group or the organization, the company saw your CV and saw your working experiments, they will think that you did many projects. You must be know more working experience, so they would like to accept you to join their team.
That's exactly something that many students missing, because they only have done some courses during the university and then they start immediately applying for jobs. So what is really missing for many students is this project, real project after the graduation. And of course, there are many organizations who are also doing this, and this could help the graduate to find a job better. Speaking between English and German, sometimes you say that, okay, your German is also quite as good as your English. So I would like to switch to German so that our audience also hear how do you speak German. So wenn wir jetzt auf Deutsch switchen und wenn ich auf Deutsch was frage, hätte ich gerne wissen, wie die Situation aussieht, wie du die Arbeit hier in Österreich gefunden hast, und vielleicht kannst du was in die Richtung erzählen.
Ja, ich glaube, meine Idee ist, dass du sollte mindestens Englisch zum können. Das heißt, in der Büro normalerweise die Leute sprechen Englisch und Deutsch, aber hauptsächlich die Leute sind auch Englisch oder Deutsch sprechen beides. In normaler Zeit, wir sprechen Deutsch, aber wenn der Kunde kommt, wir sprechen auch Englisch zusammen.
Jackie, noch eine Frage. Redest du auch bezüglich der Finite-Elemente-Simulation und unterschiedliche wissenschaftliche Themen auch auf Deutsch, oder sprichst du normalerweise auf Englisch, wenn es zu wissenschaftliche Themen oder Ingenieurwesen-Themen geht?
Also, in der Besprechung, wir diskutieren mit Deutsch. Wenn wir in Gruppe zum Diskutieren, manchmal wir haben Leute, kommen aus auch Iran. Er kann nur Englisch zum Sprechen, dann wir werden Englisch zusammen reden.
Okay, alles klar. Let's switch back to English. I think the audience understood. So basically, you don't need to be speaking perfectly English, or
That's right.
you also don't need to speak perfect German. I mean, this is Europe. People speaking lots of languages and people speaking 2 to 3 languages in many cases actively used during the working time. And this is totally okay. I mean, people are really knowledgeable about that, and people really acknowledge if you understand a second language, but shouldn't be a kind of criteria. So you
That's
better
right.
focus on the project and the expertise.